I'm Denise Galoni. Welcome to today's episode of Empowering You. My guest today is Amanda Kunkel. Amanda is known as a business psychic, where she helps people tap into the universe and find that map that was created for you even before you were born. She has some great information for you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. My guest today is Amanda Kunkel. She provides direct access to the universe, angel, spirit, God, and goddess. She assists radical self-thinking businesswomen who have demonstrated business maturity and the ambition for acceleration. When they are ready to embark on a dimensional energy shift away from doing into being, they hear their spirit calling loud and clear to step into their elite Empress self. With her psychic superpower, she conveys to women their unique universe map, which is the way to stepping into seven figures. They created this map with the universe before they were born. The paradigm shift already exists within them. She is a lifetime psychic with almost 2 decades of professional experience. Her skills are the superpower which allows women to shift from income generating into wealth being. Welcome, Amanda. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So you call yourself a business psychic.
Actually, the universe refers to me as the universe liaison. Business psychic is the easy way of explaining the depth of which the universe goes in session with my clients.
Okay. So how did this get started? Now I said you've been a lifetime psychic.
Mhm. This
How
is
did you
something
get
that has
started?
been very normal for me my entire life. I, in fact, have memories of very vividly playing with angels and fairies. And my aunt, who had passed on several years before, I didn't know that she was passed on as a child. And so, this is something that, in that very young age, entirely normal for me. And my family just thought, oh, hey, children being children.
Right.
Course, around the time of elementary school, that is when I started hearing that, oh, maybe you shouldn't really talk about that in school, tell other people about that.
Yeah.
When I became a teenager, though, is when the skills and abilities came to the forefront so powerfully that they could not be ignored. And I knew by talking to my friends at the time, right when you're 13, you talk to your friends all the time. That's
Sure. Right.
basically all you do.
Right.
This was not normal. This was
No.
different than what other people were experiencing. And so when I became a young adult, I really was looking to help other people with my abilities, not just have it be random stuff that came to me as the universe delivered it and I just happened to catch it. This went in tandem with earning my BA in psychology from Penn State University. So I was very much in the wanting to help other people and not just have a fun party trick.
Right. Because when people think of psychics, they think, oh, can you pick the Powerball numbers, or can you? Do you get that a lot?
Not anymore. I used to, because of the way the universe has shifted our work with business women. That is a lesser thing these
Okay.
days.
Right. And I think, does everyone have a little bit of psychic ability? Like I know
Absolutely.
people have, like, deja vu, like, things I don't think, boy, I've done this before. I've been through this before. I know what they're going to say because I've heard this before. And I get that a lot. So does everybody have a little bit of psychic ability?
Yep, just like anybody can sing a tune, everybody has a bit of psychic ability.
Well, I don't know about that because I really can't sing. I'm not going to prove it, but I don't know
Well,
about
you
that.
can sing, it's your judgment on how it sounds.
That is true. I can sing, yes, but not very good. That's my judgment. And a lot of people around me is also opinion.
Bless your heart.
Yeah, we all have our strengths. We know our strengths, and we know things that we're not that great at. So, Amanda, so you got your degree at Penn State.
Mhm.
Is that when you started using your psychic ability to help people?
So during that time, I went into training and this was my very early 20s, was learning with a mentor how to read and help other people.
Okay.
And at that time, a couple years before graduation, I actually was starting to charge for sessions. Now, when I say charge for sessions, we're talking about $10 tarot readings,
Right,
right?
right.
This was me moving through a development phase, moving
Sure.
through the learnings of what the universe is communicating, how it communicates through other people, places, and things, how to interpret what I was getting. And so by the time I graduated college, I had done the whole like grad school tour, right?
Mhm.
Looking at doing my PhD in psychology. And I couldn't find anything that addressed the human soul at that time. Now, granted, this was about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So the types of degrees and the way psychology is presented today in graduate
A
school
lot
is a
different.
lot different. Yes,
Right, right.
exactly. But at the time, I said no. So what I did was I actually bought a pre-existing metaphysical store in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
and yeah, and worked there full time for a year while I trained with big name psychics in the business, as well as deepen my own skills through working with international people coming all over from to
Right.
excuse me to Gettysburg, because
Sure.
that's
Yeah,
what,
yeah, I
right, you
mean,
go
yeah,
to
right,
Pennsylvania, you go to Gettysburg, right?
right, of course.
Yes, yes. And so that is really where the deepening was happening. The deepening was more than just, oh, here's your tarot cards.
Right,
This
right.
was more about progressing through the different soul levels and being a fuller person. Now, since then, the business has transformed, the way the universe has had me working with women transformed, because of course, as a women business owner,
Mhm.
women business owners started coming to me and saying,
Sure.
how are you making money?
Right, right.
What is your trick? How do you do this? And that is where the universe really started leaning into wealth, the prosperity, the what you think is where your money comes from isn't actually where your money comes from. And this is where the universe liaison part came, because instead of me being a fancy business psychic where I was interpreting things on my own, I simply opened up the channel and said, hey, businesswoman, universe, you two go together. You created this path before this person was born. I am just here relaying the information and helping with the frequency changes of what was already planned.
Wow. So you mentioned in the bio that I read that everyone has this map before they're born. Can you explain what do you mean by that?
Yes. So, first of all, it's like a fancy GPS system. So, please know, you know how GPS is always recalculating? Recalculating.
Yeah, all the
Your
time.
map is recalculating as well, because before you're born, you and the universe said, all right, what are the big major themes we want to touch on here
Sure.
during this lifetime? That was planned out, including everybody's way to success, how they define success.
Okay.
Now, of course, we all then came in here with everybody else in the world and everybody else's free wills and world events and whatnot. So, while there are points that you're going to touch during your journey, depending on what's going on around you in the world and other people, you're doing more of like a curly Q than a straight line.
Right.
And the curly Q is coming around the straight line because you're constantly, your GPS is recalculating, but you are still hitting the exact points that you and the universe have planned for you to hit, as long as you are opening and following. That's where this term, you hear ease and flow, alignment. Wait, we all want ease and flow and
Right.
alignment. Like,
Sure.
hello, yes,
Absolutely.
that would
Right.
be great. What ease and flow and alignment is following where the universe is leading you without fighting it, without judging it, without trying to swim uphill. So it's allowing you to hit all these major points in a much softer fashion and quicker than if you were trying to like kick upstream. No, I don't want
Right.
that.
Right.
Because we all have our free will here. We can do that. A lot of people do that. That's kind of actually how society teaches us to work. It is all about the turning within and going inside with the universe and allowing the universe to provide for you through other people, places, and things as it has divinely planned around everybody's free will and sovereignty. That comes to equate that alignment, ease, and flow.
Okay. So I have a lot of questions.
Go for it.
So we have this plan. Do you find that, and we're talking about women right now, because you work with women, but this
Mhm.
applies to men as well, I would think.
Absolutely.
I would think. Women, especially though, they sometimes fight things and they hold back things. So do you find working with women that they do like, okay, there's this plan, but they fight and think, well, yeah, maybe I'm not, I don't want to say not good enough, but I'm not ready for that. Or
So, mhm,
a little bit maybe imposter syndrome for people
sure.
that don't know what that means. You think that I don't think that people are going to think I know what I'm talking about, or I don't think I'm good
Sure.
enough. Do you
So
find that?
not anymore, and this is the reason why is we all have a different trajectory throughout our business, from brand newbie
Mhm.
to working our way through the different levels, and it shows through the income that comes in. I used to work with women in the beginning phases, even pre-beginning. They were thinking about starting a business, and that's where you see a lot of that because it's all so brand new, right? I went through that.
Sure, everyone does.
Everybody goes through that. And so as I have followed where the universe is leading me, we work with women that already have established businesses, have established success. So there's a small amount of the ego brain that still whispers, I'm not really sure this is
Yeah, maybe.
safe,
Right.
maybe not. But they have already done so much of the work of knowing, oh, I lean into this trigger, if I lean into this resistance, I will get to the other side of it instead of the active fighting that, right, we see with the first time, right, that
Right.
anybody is introduced to that. It's like, what? So they're already past that phase. And so it's
Right.
not that that phase doesn't exist anymore. It just means I work with women a little bit further down the path. They're already the expert of experts. They
Gotcha.
literally stand up and go, hey, I'm at the top of the skyscraper, which actually can feel like a very lonely place, by the way. Only, I believe it's 1% of business women make above $100,000. They to make it to that, I'm going to use quotes here, coveted point. And
Sure.
so it can be more of a lonely place. So they've done all that work on the way up to the top of the skyscraper. That doesn't mean the work has stopped, though. When you get to the top of that skyscraper, it shifts, it changes, it looks different than what you hear from the very first time anybody ever took a beginner's business course
Yeah. Yeah.
and has morphed all the way up there to expansion, to receiving, to allowing, to letting the universe provide through other people, places, and things, and seeing triggers and seeing resistance and leaning into it in full trust, which is where this frequency level comes in that the universe works with, because it's not about, oh, hey, you have to learn all the business doodads and wealth doodads. It's, you already know that. Now it's time to shift. It's like the radio stations, right? You tune it to a different radio station.
So for anyone that's watching, depending on where they are in their business,
Mhm.
what tips would you give them to start this? Like, how do I start like listening to the universe and following that plan that I have? And can you just give a couple
Mhm.
things to get started? Because I know like, we can't flip that switch and just start everything
Yep.
tomorrow, but how do we get started doing that?
Notice where your stuff is. So your stuff is, where do you get frustrated? Where do people trigger you? By the way, the people that trigger the most biggest thing in you is usually like the coach you need to go with at that point.
Right, right, right.
That's
Yeah.
the person you need to learn from. So realizing your stuff and going, oh, hey, I've got a little bit of a trigger here. I have a little bit of resistance here. Allowing yourself to know that that's okay. Like, that's a totally normal thing. And that it's about seeing it and what you do with it that counts.
Okay. So see that resistance and then work through that resistance or push through it.
Yes. It's
Okay.
not about pushing through it. So pushing through is goes to the hustle. It goes to the very masculine paradigm of doing business, which is out there, which is those 80-hour weeks, do whatever you have to do,
Right. Get it done.
um, get it done, have a huge team, push through things, be very aggressive. Where when you shift into the wealth being, it's about the allowing. So and the receiving. So looking at your triggers and going and looking at your stuff and going, ooh, what's downstream? So if the hustling, the masculine, the pushing is swimming upstream, what's the opposite of it. It's a little bit different, the actual unique key within each woman, right? We're all unique people, right?
Sure.
We're
Right.
all a little
Absolutely.
bit different, sure.
Right.
And so it's a little bit different. And it's about allowing yourself to find what that unique difference is. And it's allowing yourself to really approve and giving yourself permission to say, I've got this thing, that's not good. I'm going to allow, receive my way through it. I'm going to lean in. It's like when you get a massage. I love massages, by
I
the
do
way.
too.
Yeah. Um, when you really have a knot, the masseuse doesn't go, oh, we're just going to gloss over that.
No, they
Masseuse
get
is
in there
like,
really smart. Yeah.
I go take a deep breath, and with me, they get their elbow in my back.
It hurts.
Yeah, and I actually had a masseuse say to me, she was probably like my size person. She's like, how are you not completely yowling on the table? I was like, because I know that this is intense and it's not pain. And she was like, she doesn't know what, like, we don't have, like, she was a replacement for my regular masseuse who was usually,
Right.
so she doesn't know the ins and outs of what I do, but a look on her face was like, "Arr?" And so it's going, intense isn't bad, intense isn't angry, intense isn't bad, painful. Intense is, like you just said, they get in there, and when they get in there, that the release, and you can feel it, right? There's like oh, it's like that, but it's within yourself and your stuff.
And that's how when you work with women, they get to that 7 figures. You help them. Can you talk just a little bit about that? Like, what would be your process? Like, if
Yes.
someone to call you and said, Amanda, I need help. Like, I am stuck here.
Well, there is the first thing I would do, I would ask them a bunch of questions to make
Sure.
sure we are a good fit. And one of my favorite things of doing is, if I am not a good fit, or they're like, it's just not what they need, I refer them to someone. And if I don't know someone to refer them to, I ask a trusted colleague, hey, who would you refer, without giving names, this person to? Because I
Right.
believe we are in this as a collective,
Mhm.
even if the current thing they need is not the universe and I. So that's the first thing. The next thing we do is decide how much intensity do they need, where they are at in their journey, and where they are going. Because someone at 100K, it's a little different than somebody that's at, let's say, 500K,
Mhm.
right? A year. We're saying a year here.
Right. Right.
And that maybe they have pushed their whole way through. Maybe there's a lot of women at the $250,000 level a year that are only taking home 5K. Now, I know some people listening are like, oh, I would love to only take home 5K.
Right.
That's awesome. That's great. That is a fabulous goal.
Right. Because everybody's at different levels. Right.
Yes. And so what it's about then is diagnosing what the root is. So if you're doing 250K a year, but you're only taking home 5K, ooh, there's some wealth and abundance stuff going in. The universe would like to lean in there. This is why each program with me, it's very simple. The universe channels the message of what you need to know, and how, I'm going to use quotes here, how you need to move through it, and then provides the frequency shift through it. But it's different for each person depending on their needs. Does that make sense? So somebody at 200,
Well, yeah, because we're all different, and our businesses are all different.
exactly. Is it the wealth piece? Is it they need to step out of the hustle piece? Because that is just a slight difference. What key code, I call them key codes, within the body system. That's those unique, like, if you can give yourself like a circuitry system, the unique way you would flip your circuits is different than the house next door's unique way that their circuits would flip to get
Sure.
to the next level, whatever that would be. And the important thing to remember through every phase of business, whether you're just starting out or you are at the very top of the penthouse skyscraper, is what got you to where you are is not what's going to get you to the next thing. And so being okay to release everything that you have learned, it's not bad, right?
Mhm.
It's not like, oh, totally
Right.
forget it. It's release the attachment to it to allow the new thing in.
That sounds like that'd be difficult to do for some
Mhm.
people.
And it is, and it's a wonderful way of learning about yourself, learning where your stuff is. And I find when women release their stuff, release the attachment, release their controls, the rest of their life flows beautifully. And in tandem, if something's going on in the outside of their life and they're releasing there, it starts flowing into the business releasing.
Okay.
So
So you're
it's
talking
a
like
duet.
personal life, like marriage or children or whatever, that it all works together.
It all works together because it is all one energy.
Okay, very interesting. Do you find that people focus on the wrong things? Like
Mhm.
maybe someone focuses on like I need to make X number of dollars, and they're focused on that X number of dollars.
So the wonderful thing is goals are awesome. Always be super specific when you're asking something of the universe. So let's say you're like, all right, I want my first 5K month, or I want my first 50K month.
Right.
It's all the same vibration. The part of it is being very clear about what you want,
Mhm.
and it's okay to say, I would love it to come through business. However, if you use the phrase receiving, it's going to be easier to get to because you'll be opening up all the channels of which it could come through, right? Sort of like the various parts of a dams. If you open them all up, you're going to get more water coming through.
Right.
And so there it goes back to the point of be very specific, but release your attachment and let go. Allow the universe to bring it through other people, places, and things to you. So one of my favorite things I love doing, again, unless it doesn't matter if you're at a 5K a month goal or a 50K a month goal, is I'm so excited. I know the universe is delivering this. It's like, on Halloween, you open your front door and there are adorable little trick or treaters in their little outfits. You just know they're going to be there. It is like that. I love Halloween, and it's October almost
It's
at the point
right.
that we're recording
Right.
this.
Right.
So
Right.
right? Your lights on, you've got the candy,
Yeah.
it's going to be there. So it's the same thing. And the universe's job is to deliver it through other people, places, and things. Your job is to open the door with excitement to be ready to receive it.
Right. Do people close that door by thinking negatively, like, oh, I want to make $5,000 a month, but I'm not going to be able to do it. Like, I just can't do it.
Sure. And I love
That
the
negative
whole.
energy affects it's
Mhm.
coming back, receiving
Yeah,
those.
anything that is not super joyous and in flow, because joyous is in flow, right? If you think about, is that a hard feeling or not? No, think of where your feelings are. If your feelings, and whether it's coming from a mindset or it's coming from something else that's going on around you in the world, or in your personal life,
Right.
and it's affecting you, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling low, don't first of all, don't blame yourself or judge yourself. That's just an indicator of where you are and where the flow of abundance is. Not right towards you, not with open doors at that point. Again, don't judge or blame yourself, because that's just like, kicking yourself while you're down. Don't do
Sure.
that. Everybody is there at a certain point, and know that every business has ebb and flow. The business energy itself is a living, breathing entity. So, of course, there's going to be times where it seems like things are pouring in, and then times where you're like, was that the last sale ever? Happens to everybody at every single level of business. So, coming back to all right, feeling some negative shows an indicator that I am not on this super highway of abundance. That's what the universe refers to it as. That's the joyous, open, so in the flow that wealth, opportunities, friendships, connections are just coming to you because your doors are wide open. Going, all right, well, what can I do? Where can I lean in? How can I open to shift to maybe not the super high wave abundance joyous right away, but to a better feeling?
Okay.
And then
Mhm.
you get there, same thing. What can I do to get to a better feeling? So you'll still move. We all
So step
think,
by step,
yes,
little
we all
steps.
think that we have to quantum leap, and it can happen, and it does happen, right? And when you quantum leap,
Right.
you reset your receiving capability. But for the most part, what all of us see throughout all of our lives are the smaller steps. And then when you get to a point that the universe goes, oh, she or he is ready for that quantum leap, then it happens. But
Okay.
it is not the norm. It is the exception. So allow yourself to know that these smaller shifts are exactly where you should be. There's nothing wrong. There is nothing to fix. You are already whole, healthy, and complete. The universe has got your back.
We all want that quantum leap, though. We all want it to happen yesterday. We all want that with everything. Any final thoughts that you want to share with the audience?
Oh, be so gentle with yourselves. Be
Yeah.
so gentle with yourselves. Take that pressure off of yourselves. It's in those moments of not pressure where you are just being and you're in your own flow and you are feeling that warmth and connectedness and trusting the universe to provide those adorable trick-or-treaters when you open your door with that bowl of candy. That's where those, oh my gosh, I did a quantum leap comes from. That's where all those smaller steps add up. And to reach out, there are so many wonderful free resources.
Okay.
I mean, the internet was not a thing when I was in college. It was like very barely starting up.
Right.
You
Right.
couldn't even find like an eighth of what you can find online now. And so it is, allow yourself to get curious, to look for help when you need it. Find colleagues that you can share with, so you're in community with, and that you help each other out with knowledge. It's not this behind closed doors, I've got to do this all by myself. It's, there's people out there. There's a breadth of love and support, and to lean into the universe and allow the universe to direct you with ideas or showing up at your door of where to look for that support.
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us and give your knowledge and great tips. And again, people can go and they can find some of these resources and accept these gifts that are coming from the universe. Just like I said, just like trick or treat, open that door and everyone's there.
Exactly. You are
Thank you.
very welcome. Thank you
Thank
too.
you so much. Thank you for watching today's episode of Empowering You. I'd like to thank my guest, Amanda Kunkel. Amanda provided great information on how to be positive, open the door, and let the universe help you reach those goals that you have, including making that 7 figures, if that's your desire. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.